Tyson Bryden. Welcome to Nonstop Rock Talk. I'm your host, Tyson Bryden. On today's episode, I'm happy to welcome back guitarist for both House of Lords and Autograph, Jimi Bell.
Tyson, how are you, my friend?
Good man. How are you? Thanks for coming back.
Well, we had a great interview last time. I jumped at the chance to come back again. It was awesome.
It was awesome. We talked a lot of guitar last time, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. We actually hit on a lot of stuff, but it was a great interview.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So hopefully this one will be as much fun, if not more.
Absolutely. You make it fun, so that's all that matters.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, House of Lords has recently released yet another album entitled Saints and Sinners. Ninth
studio record I've done since them.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, been with them since, James contacted me in 2005. And 2006, we had the first record out, World Upside Down, and that record really did well. I mean, it really did well. Like, the ratings on it were fantastic. And I think that's what started such a good working relationship between Frontiers and House of Lords. And then I got to be very friendly with Frontiers on my own as well. So I built a very good, working relationship with those guys. I love them. Serafino, Mario, always, the whole family there just treats me great. So I really love being a part of that label.
I mean, I love the fact that they just put out great music all the time. They're always. You know what I mean? Like in the vein of, the hard rock era and heavy metal and all that, which I love. Yeah.
They're that's the label, if you're playing that type stuff, that's the label to be on. But, besides that, they're just wonderful people. I mean, honestly, Serafino, I've met him several times, at festivals that we played, and he's fantastic. And Mario, these are guys that they know I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So when there's something they want to talk about, I'm getting text messages or emails at 4 a.m. because I'm over here, and they're over in Italy because they know I'm the first one up. Simon and Mark, from an Autograph, they're in California, so they're even another 3 hours
right
that way. So if they need something, they get in touch with me, and I'm a real early riser, so I'm up at usually 3:30, getting out and doing my 8-mile walk by 3:30, 4 o'clock every morning. Yeah. So. I'm always answering them at that time in the morning,
Well, I knew when I emailed you at 7 a.m. last week that I would most likely get a quick response because I knew that.
Oh yeah,
that you were usually up. So. Yeah,
I'm not your typical musician. No matter what time I go to bed, my mind is going. It shuts off for a little bit, but then I wake up and I go, oh, okay, what do I got? I got to write this song. I got to do this. I got to do, things start twirling. So I'm a walking freak. So every morning, every morning I get up and I do 8 miles right off the bat every morning. And then and then another 6 miles in the afternoon usually.
Wow. That's intense.
Yeah, so I try to get 12 to 14 miles every day.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now getting back to Frontiers, talking about them, there's been times where I've kind of been skeptical about the super groups that like they put guys together and they come out, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know what this is going to be like. But the last two that I bought, which was Iconic with Joel Hoekstra and
my buddy,
and Michael Sweet and the singer from Inglorious. That album's amazing. And then that what's the other one with Robert Sweet and Perry Richardson? Clean Break.
Yeah,
with James Durbin. They're fantastic albums, both of them.
Yeah, Black Swan with Red Beach is really good.
Oh, that one's amazing.
Well, you'll have another one because as I was talking about before we went on to the air, before you started, recording, is I'm in one of those projects.
That's awesome.
Cool. We will, more to come on that, but cool. It's going to be pretty interesting. So you're going to be kind of taken by the people that are involved with it. You're going to go, oh my God, I can't believe this. You know, it's going to be kind of cool.
It's kind of fun when you think about it, right? Because if you had thought back in the day that, you know, that someone would be like, hey, you know what, we should put this guy with this guy, and it probably wouldn't have happened because they had their other bands, right? Their band that they were in, but now you're able to do that kind of thing, right?
Well, the thing is, you know, times have changed so much. If you really look back in your in the history of a lot of bands, usually like when a band was a band, you know, members only played with that band.
Yeah.
You know, you very rarely ever saw like this guy going to play with this guy or this guy, you know, one of these things. You know, you were in that band and that was the only band you played with, and that's what you were recognized for. Nowadays, you know, everybody's, you know, lending themselves out to, you mentioned Michael Sweet, you know, he's a good buddy of mine. He's all over the place.
Oh,
with
he
George
is, yeah.
Lynn. I mean, he's got tons of projects. Joel Hoekstra, you just talked about Joel. I mean, he's got his hands in everything. He doesn't ever stop working, Joel. He's just on the road nonstop,
yeah.
You know?
And I loved his Hoekstra's 13, the last album that he did. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I just saw him. I was just hanging out with him the other night. He was out doing an acoustic thing with Brandon Gibbs, and it's so good. I'm sorry, I actually only got to see one show of it because he happened to come to Connecticut, and it was fantastic. And I had never met Brandon before till afterwards, but Joel said, I just couldn't believe this because they were on the, you know, stage. It was a very intimate crowd, you know, that we were there, and they just started talking about me because Joel saw me, and they said the most wonderful, kindest things, and I was just like, wow, this is so cool that this gentleman is, you know, saying this. It was more than just, it wasn't just say, oh, here's Jimmy. So, you know, Jimi Bell's there, a good guitar player. I mean, they went on, you
really?
know, and, you know, it was really, really sweet of him. And, you know, so much respect for that guy. You know, honestly, I got to tell you, Joel, to me, even though he has his hands in a lot of different things, you know, with it started with Night Ranger, you know, Rock of Ages, you know, Trans-Siberian, everything. Joel's really one of the best guitar players out there. That guy he's got an incredible versatility in his playing. So it's, you know, I dig it.
I mean, I mean, that Hoekstra 13 album, there's a lot of different styles kind of on it. You know what I mean? There's stuff that does sound like Whitesnake, and then there's stuff that's totally different than that.
Yeah, he's got some really good. I'm into country chops. Like I like chicken picking a lot because there was a point when I was before I started playing heavy, you know, got back into the touring thing, and there was a point there in the 90s that I had no intentions of playing rock anymore, so I had a Telecaster, and I was really getting into a lot of chicken picking and flat picking on the telly, and
love it.
So I still to this day apply that into my playing, but Joel does a lot of that. Like this, the whole thing is that he just did on acoustic. He did the solo on acoustic. And I was going like, Jesus, man. Right after he does the solo, he says all these great things about me, and I'm going, I got your whole solo right here on video, so I don't even want to hear it. You know?
And I mean, and he plays with Reb Beats and Whitesnake. Like those two together is insane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they trade off incredible, and they complement each other so well because their styles. I mean, Joel does, you know, tapping, and Reb does a lot of tapping, but it's different.
Different, yeah.
So their styles don't walk over each other whatsoever.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, you mentioned Black Swan and what Reb did on those two Black Swan albums. I mean, that band's incredible too. Like, yeah. And I'm glad, like, getting back to Frontiers again, I am just glad that they're bringing this stuff out because they're putting out so much great music. Yeah,
well, I mean, I think it's like really smart of them that they kind of sat down. They probably sat at some table. What can we do to make something really cool here? Oh, we'll take a guy from here, and they put this together. It's worked out really well for them.
Well, I mean, you put Jeff Pilson with Robin McCauley and Reb Beach, and then Matt Starr on drums. I mean, that's a good formula.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure is. Yeah. Matt, my buddy Matt. He's from Connecticut here.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, originally. Yeah.
Did you, speaking of which, Connecticut, was there any effects from that hurricane? Or are you guys too far inland? Too far inland?
No, we're that was, further down. That was down south, Florida and the Carolinas and, a little bit of Georgia. We really didn't get where Connecticut is. It didn't really get anything.
Because I know the other one was that Fiona got hit Newfoundland, Nova Scotia up in Canada. So I was just wondering if it had. So it missed you, obviously, which is good.
Really, really sad. A lot of damage. A lot of damage when you see it on TV. Man, the aerial cams that they took of the devastation that was down there was just like, oh my God. You wonder how people are gonna recoup. Recover from something like this, but they always do. I think people I think realize when they live down in those areas that they're if you're living on the Gulf of Mexico someplace, you're already going to say, well, we're going to get a hurricane. You don't go there and say everything's going to be fine. You got to go there and expect. I
mean, I've been to Florida and you see the things that they put on their house on the windows to being prepared for when the hurricanes come, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
So, getting back to House of Lords, I mean, as always, the music fits right into the vein of House of Lords. I mean, it sounds like House of Lords. Tell me a little bit about the process of putting together this album. I mean, James Christian probably he's like, okay, we have to sound like House of Lords. Is there when you're putting together the albums, is there a discussion about it?
Yeah, well, there was only at the first couple albums because, well, I don't know if I told you the last time.
You may have.
when James first came to me, it was pretty funny. He contacted me because he was from Connecticut originally himself.
Yeah.
And he calls me up. He says, Jimmy, I'm putting House of Lords back together. I'd like you to play with us. We have a new, we have a record deal with Frontiers, and I just got to know, have you ever written a melodic rock song before? And I didn't even know really what a melodic rock song was, but I just said yes.
That's the right answer.
Absolutely.
That's the right answer.
I just wanted the gig.
That's
I didn't care.
Yeah.
But it just so happens I was able to do that. The thing I learned so much from writing and the direction from James on the first record. Like, here's what I did. Like, I would, even if I gave James a real heavy riff, like for example, a couple of them that come into mind from the first album, Rock Bottom, I'm Free, These Are the Times, those three songs, those are very heavy guitar riffs. But by the time James adds keyboards, and then he layered his vocal harmonies. It's everything that he did brings it into the realm of the House of Lords song. So you give that same song, these same tracks that I wrote, you give them to another singer, they're going to come out totally different. But because I gave them to James, it's his thing. He knows how to create the House of Lords sound. And, he did all the keys himself because he knows how to play keys. He plays bass great, plays guitar. I mean, he does everything. Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, I understand there is vinyl of this album. It's funny.
The new one?
Yes.
Are we talking about the new one?
The new one. Yeah. Did you manage to get a copy by any chance?
I did. He sent me one.
That's awesome. The blue looks great.
Yeah, he did send me. I heard the vinyl was sold out already. But he did send me one, the blue record. And
it looks great.
Yeah, I think it's right. What's weird though? I didn't know the last 3 records were on vinyl too. Saints of the Lost Soul and New World and New Eyes. I had no idea they were on vinyl. Somebody posted pictures of it. I'm going, oh, that's nice.
I was going to ask if there was others on vinyl because I wasn't aware. But it was funny. I went on the European Frontier site today.
Yeah.
So the album, I guess, there is still available because it was €27.99. Well,
okay, good.
The crazy thing was that the shipping was $39.99.
Of course.
And I was like, are you kidding me? Well, I mean, it's the times, right? And I was like, that comes to €67. And then you put that into Canadian dollars where I am, and you're probably looking at $100. I was like, well, I bought the CD. I would love to have that vinyl, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it'd be cheaper to take a plane ticket.
I know, right? It's like, what happened here? Why is the shipping costing more than the actual product now? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I know, and I guarantee it's not them. It's the postal or whatever.
Oh, well, no, they were, when Mario was telling me so much, he really got into details one time about how things were, delayed and the costs and everything. Like COVID really did a number on everything, right down to getting records made and CDs, and everything got really extremely difficult. So that set everything back, like it did the whole world. COVID set the whole world back, but you don't think sometimes of other things like, CDs or records. That's a company. There's a company that makes that. So they suffered. We suffer.
Yeah, everybody suffers, right? Indirectly in some way. I mean, when you go, in this case, for instance, I mean, I still might buy it. I'm going to keep checking back on it because it does look really cool, and I'm sure it sounds fantastic.
Well, I mean, you do have a radio show and a talk show and everything. Maybe you could say, "Hey."
Well, that is true. That's a good point.
Yeah, maybe I'll say, "Hey, I have Jimmy on. I've had Jimmy on the radio on the show twice so far.
Yeah, that's a good point. I may use. I usually don't do that, but you never know.
Oh, I give you permission.
Thanks, man.
They might laugh at you. There's no guarantees. They might laugh at you.
No, I know exactly.
Say, so what?
So what? Now, let's kind of dive into the album a little bit.
Sure.
First track I'm going to ask about is "Mistress of the Dark." For those that don't know, you also play in a Deep Purple tribute entitled "Beyond Purple." You also do Whitesnake in that. Do you guys do Rainbow too? Yeah,
Beyond Purple was a concept I came up with. It's a dedication to the Deep Purple family tree.
Yeah.
So when we went into this, I have some really good friends that are great musicians here. My buddy Mike Gill, great singer, and he's able to sing everything. And we were talking about we were just going to do a cover band in between tour, and then we started naming off some songs. We're going like, so we happened to a Rainbow song came up, and then someone said, "Oh, I like this Deep Purple song," and then Whitesnake, of course, because all the girls love Whitesnake.
Yeah,
and so all of a sudden my wheels are spinning. I'm going, gee, all of these things that we're talking about here all branched off of Deep Purple. I said, can you imagine if we did a band where we call it Beyond Purple, and it's absolutely just the whole family tree.
That's so
but
cool.
you gotta really look at it. It started with Rod Evans and Nicky Simper,
right.
on the first, and then Ian and Roger come in, and then that lasts a little while, and then David and Glenn.
Yeah.
But then you got to look at like this. If you're doing a Deep Purple family tree, okay, so. Richie Leaves forms Rainbow, Ronnie Dio, Joe Lynn Turner, Graham Bonnet, you have all these singers, and then Ronnie Dio even plays with Black Sabbath. Ian Gillan plays with Black Sabbath for Born
and
Again.
Gillan has Gillan as well.
Yeah, and he had Gillan. Graham Bonnet goes to play with Alcatraz, right. So your mind could go crazy where if you went and looked at Glenn Hughes, he had the Hughes Thrall Project. I mean, all these different
Would you do trapeze too? Would you put trapeze?
Yeah,
in there?
you could have done trapeze. You could go all over the place with this thing. What we did was the whole concept. Just I know we were talking about, but the whole concept of this band was wanted to play songs that everybody knew. Now, I didn't want to there's a lot of cuts from Rainbow that I absolutely love, like Gates of Babylon and all these other things, where it's more the heavier and guitar, more orientated stuff. But I said, guys, if we do these songs, these are just going to appeal to maybe one or two guitar guys out in the audience, or some heavy metal dude going like this in front of us. I said, I want to play songs that people recognize right off the bat, the more popular of the songs. So, Deep Purple were, Highway Star, Hush, Knocking at Your Back Door, Burn, Woman from Tokyo, things like that. Everything that's recognizable from them. And then, and then we go into more of the, we do like Silver Mountain, Long Live Rock and Roll from Rainbow. But then, we do a lot of the Joe Lynn. Because and Graham, since you've been gone,
do you do Stone Cold, Surrender?
Oh yeah, Stone Cold, Street of Dreams. Street of Dreams is one of the best.
Song.
Yeah, it just goes over huge when you do it. And then of course Whitesnake you can't miss. You just like the list just goes like this.
What was that great song on the Purple album that Joe Lynn Turner did? The one album he did, the single.
Oh, that's King of Dreams.
Yeah, I love that song.
Oh, it's great. I just told the guys the other day, I said, we got to learn this song. And I said, Joe Lynn joined, Deep Purple for an album. They go, he did? I go, yeah. He wasn't just in Rainbow. He came out. And King of Dreams is a great song. I happened to see the video the other day, and I was going, wow, this is a great song, I
love that song. And it's so, it sounds like Purple, but it sounds like Rainbow too. Of course it's going to, though, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's a great one. But getting back to House of Lords again, Mistress of the Dark, it kind of reminded me of something off of Perfect Strangers. Yeah. It's
just, we brought in Mark Mangold. James told me about, like, before we had started this, I guess James had contacted him, or somehow they made a connection.
Yeah.
And they were, they started exchanging ideas, and, James wanted to, we've always had keyboards in all the albums, but we wanted to go even, deeper into this record. We wanted to make it even more, and you got to watch it with things like that too. You can't, because you always have the diehard fans, and there's no replacing Greg Giuffria, and stuff like that. So you got to do things very delicately, and with respect. You don't just go in and throw things at people. But the concept of bringing more keyboards back into the sound seems to have gone over great.
Yeah.
Mistress was was a song I really enjoyed playing on. There's so many of them. I remember learning the video track House of the Lords. And that one was just a blast. When he started with that whole concept thing, and then they had, when I got the track, let's just say, for me to play to, I don't think there was real drums on it. There was, just a demo of computer drums possibly. And when the song started, there's that whole keyboard intro, and then all of a sudden, it starts building. And when the whole band comes in doing that trot, that gallop, it's like, wow. I said, this is good. And I started, realizing that, as a writer, like I am, you really got to take input from other people. You can't go into a band. You can't go into a situation and go, well, if you don't use my songs, I don't want to be a part of this. It's my songs have to be on here. It can't be like that. You got to think what is best for the album.
Yep.
I've had I've written almost every song with the exception of 2 or 3 on every House of Lords record. Sometimes only with the exception of 1, but basically, so I've had my share of writing, and all the bonus tracks and everything, so it's the Japanese bonus tracks.
Which are a given, right? The Japanese bonus track is a given. It's going to be that you're going to have to do it.
Yeah, it is. It's changed though,
Really?
It's kind of strange. Usually the Japanese bonus track used to be another song,
right.
A whole different song. Now, basically, what's kind of required is an acoustic version of one of the songs that's already on the record.
Okay.
Like it could be an acoustic guitar or an acoustic piano, just a different version of what's on there. And it's so cool. In fact, we did one for the Autograph album. We have a song, a full band on the Autograph album called "Take Me Higher," and it's like a mid-tempo ballad, sort of thing. But Simon plays really good keyboards too, so we did a whole keyboard version of that for the Japanese release, and
that's cool.
Yeah, it came out great.
You know what's funny about some of those Japanese, going back in the day to the early 90s, there was a song on the first Hardline album, on Double Eclipse, that only ended up on the Japanese copy, and it should have been on the North American because it's one of the best songs on the album. And then the second Lynch Mob, there's 2 songs on that one that were just phenomenal that could have been on the album, and Japan only got to hear them.
Yeah, I had I've had a diehard fan who collects, gets all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember him sending me, I probably, if I go back in my emails far enough, he actually sent me every bonus track off of the Japanese releases from House of Lords.
Cool.
So yeah, he had them. Okay, we had a really good one on the very first record. The song was called "Gone." It was like a real rockin' thing that I wrote, and I really wanted it on the album itself, but it only made it as the Japanese bonus track. But man, it was so cool. Real almost like a Van Halen thing. Cool. Maybe that's why it was more like a Van Halen, that type of thing.
And it's funny because the streaming sites even. Most of the time, they don't include those bonus tracks either because they probably don't have the licensing for them. But
right.
It'd be awesome if they did, even just for the fans to get to hear this stuff. You know what I mean?
It would be.
Or it would be.
It would be. It's great. I think they should put out a whole record, grab all the bonus tracks.
That's what I was just going to say.
They could do a whole release on that. They could do a whole nother record. House of Lords, Japanese bonus tracks.
Yeah,
it would sell.
Oh, I'd buy it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Another record right there.
Because it's kind of crazy because you're being denied music by the band almost. You know what I mean? If you're a fan of that band, you're being denied what technically should be yours because you're a fan. Right?
Yeah, I hear you. It's funny.
It is funny, and I mean, I get the logistics of the whole thing, but sometimes it just, and when you actually hear those songs and you're like, what the hell? Why was this not on the North American release? And it's kind of funny, right?
Yeah, it is.
So, I was actually House of the Lord, and which you just mentioned. It's interesting because I mean, it's kind of in the vein of the name of the band, obviously.
Yeah, that threw me when he sent me the track.
Yeah.
When I got the email. And he said, "This is House of the Lord, House of the Lord."
Yeah.
I said, "What the hell is James talking about here?" I go, "What, the name of the band? I don't understand." And then then when I finally opened the email and realized that there was a song called "House of the Lord," I said, "Oh, okay, I get what you're trying to tell me here." It wasn't making any sense at first,
Well, I was trying to figure it out because it actually, to me, the chorus seems more love related, but I guess if he's talking in terms of faith, I guess that could be love too. So I was like, I'm kind of scratching my head. I'm like, I wonder what he means there. I'm gonna have to dive into it a little bit more to kind of get the concept of what he was going for.
Yeah, he'd be the one to ask about that stuff as far as lyrics, what the meanings of a lot of that stuff are. I had a hard enough time learning the songs because I didn't write them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mean, getting to roll with Thunder, great track. Love
thanks.
that opening riff with the guitar and the keyboards are really cool.
Now that's an old track, that I wrote. That track, every House of Lords record I write about, 13 to sometimes 17, 16, 17 songs for every record.
Yeah. And
then, he goes through them and picks the ones he wants. Well, this was an extra track from maybe 3 records ago.
Wow.
And, when James, actually taking my heart back too. That's another one. That was from the Saint of the Lost Soul record, I believe, or maybe the last one. When James, came to me and says, Jimmy, let's start writing, new material for the new record. I said, okay, no problem. I got lots of ideas, but first, I said, I want you to revisit a few tunes, because what happens with James, and I'm sure this is very typical of people that are, lyricists and, people that, they find the songs they want and they're really, and they get overwhelmed. I found that if I send, because of the fact that I write songs pretty fast.
Yeah.
If we sent James too many songs, like a couple of them might get overlooked. In other words, he would give a quick listen, but then go to the other one, something that caught his ear instantly, but not really give the other ones a fair shot. And then they'd sit there, So basically what we had to do is I told him to, let's revisit this, let's go back and, give these a listen. And there was, like 3 of them that he absolutely loved. He actually finished. I wrote some new ones here. I was telling you prior that, I never had my own recording studio before.
Right.
All the years that I've been writing music, I never had to do it before because BJ Sampo, who was in the band forever, now with Dokken, lived, 5-7 minutes from me here. So he had the Pro Tools. I would go to his house, I'd have the song, and I'd say, hey, what do you think it is? I'd play it for him. He might change a part or just, say, oh, it's good the way it is. Or he'd tell me it sucks. Let's, what else you got, So we would record it. And then he played the drums and boom, we sent it off to James, and then James would do what he wants to. And that's how we did it forever. And then it got to the point between, all these projects I was getting, the new Autograph album, House of Lords record, this other thing. I said, damn, I guess I'm going to have to get my own recording studio. I never needed it before. So I did it, and I put myself into the quickest learning curve you could ever imagine, man. I bet. I was on this thing. And I tell you, when I tell you that I got this whole studio loaded into my computer Black Friday of 2021, I have over 150 songs in my computer already that I've written.
Wow, man, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking like I've had so much music. They come to me all the time. Like, even today I recorded something that I just wrote this morning. And I worked on it, worked it out. Then all of a sudden I complete it. Boom. Okay. I want to get it down. It's
cool. So you must play all day.
I do play all day. Yeah. When I'm not walking, I'm playing. I do music full time. It's either like I'm doing projects for somebody or, everything I do is musically related.
Yeah. I mean,
with the exception of walking, but I got to tell you, when I'm walking, I'm thinking, even though I'm thinking of songs, like I have melodies and possible lyric ideas, even though I'm not a lyricist. but I have a few ideas coming into my head. So I grab my phone and I will record them on my phone just so I don't forget them while I'm walking. And then whoever the song is for, I'll present these couple ideas and I'll say, well, here's a title, possibly a working title I came up with. And, I kind of sang it like this. And sometimes that really works out well. They go, hey, that's a good idea. I give them a starting point anyway,
That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
And getting back to Roll with Thunder, the backgrounds going into the chorus, I was like, that kind of has a Def Leppard vibe to it. Just how they brought those vocals out. It sounds really cool.
Yeah.
It was a little bit different.
I also liked that he did the chant in there. The roll like thunder, that's kind of, they had that in there.
That's cool.
I wasn't expecting that. So I was, I said, wow, that's very cool. That's one of my favorite parts with when in the writing process with any band, because of the fact that I'm not a lyricist. I like sending out the music that I write. And then I like hearing what comes back with it's sung, with the harmonies and all the lyric. That's one of the biggest joys to me of writing. I had somebody ask me the other day. They said, "Has anybody ever given you lyrics, and then you've written music to lyrics?" That's only happened like one other time, and honestly, it's very difficult for me to do that. Because a lot of times when somebody presents me with lyrics, they're not structured the way a song would be.
That's right. Yeah.
A song is a verse, usually a verse, usually a bridge, and then a chorus. Sometimes it just goes verse to chorus. But sometimes when people write lyrics out in advance, they write it in the form of a poem almost. So, there's certain things that aren't there, like certain rhyming things and things that have to be sectioned off.
Yeah, so it's harder to put it to the song.
Yeah, it's harder for me to try to put music to somebody else's lyrics. I'd rather give somebody something, then they could break apart what they're trying to say over what I give them for a verse.
Yeah, when I write, I usually will come up with my guitar riffs. I'll have the basis of everything I've got. And then I'll record it on my Zoom or on my phone or something like that. And then I'll play it back and I'm not playing it, I'm listening to what I've got. And then I'm writing the melodies and the words over top of what I have. And I find that formula for me works really well now.
Yeah.
Where before I used to sit with a guitar and try and come up with stuff. Now I find that if I've got a good riff or a good song, then I build it and then go from there.
Oh, yeah. When I play the song, like I send like when I write a tune, I'll email it, to me. So I have everything that I've written all in emails. And like every time I have a new song while I'm doing my walk, I'll pop it on at 4 a.m. when I'm walking through parking lots and stuff, and I'm listening and I'm singing, melodies in my head, or sometimes out loud, but who's awake at that time anyway to hear me doing it? So yeah. I'm running these ideas, and it's good because as opposed to what you said, I used to. Before I had the studio, I used to record just my guitar on my phone. When I had an idea, I would record my guitar and put my iPhone up to my amplifier, and just record what I was working on. It might do a verse, a bridge, and a chorus, and then that would be it. Now, when I have the whole complete song with drums, bass, and everything going, a solo, the whole.
That's amazing.
I'm creating to an entire track.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it.
Well,
it really is.
Yeah, that seems feasible because, you're with the whole band going, you're able to do the lyric. It's even easier to get the melodies and the lyrics because you have that whole basis, right?
Yeah, plus you got the, having a drum beat behind you as opposed to like when you're playing guitar, just by yourself against into into your phone or whatever, just to get an idea down, your timing is wavering a little bit. You might slow one part down, speed another part up, but you don't realize it because you're not playing to the drums.
Yeah.
Once you're locked in, like I always have I have a very just simple 2/4 beat with the hi-hat set up for everything I do. It's a drum template. I just use that. I change the speed. And then I even though if I want to do something like something I was working on today, I wanted to have the click track on with it because I was doing something kind of percussive.
Yep.
And even though the drums are going, it's a lot easier for me to hear that click, click, click. So I'm going, trying to lock in with the click track. And that really brings it all together because I do a lot of multi-layering. I do one rhythm and then I copy that same rhythm. I do the exact same thing and then I pan them.
You pan it. Yep.
Then I'll do a third rhythm, which will be different than the first two. Like the first two are identical. Then I do a third rhythm, maybe with high voicings, and then I'll add a fourth one in with some low things. And then by the time I combine all of these together, I got something that sounds like an orchestra almost.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, a wall of sound. It sounds like boom.
Well, it's funny because a couple years ago, I had read that Mutt Lange had made Def Leppard. I think it was on Hysteria, on the song Hysteria, where he made them do one string at a time to make the chord ring. So I was like, I got to try that. So I did, and it worked. I was like, oh my God. And you could tell it just had this ringing, like it just rang out so nice. And I doubled it. So I did 12 tracks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wanted to try it. I wanted to see how it sounded.
That's a lot. That's very time consuming.
It was, but it was so worth it. and I have a buddy who's a musician friend of mine. He's a guitar player, and I told him what I did, and he goes, "You're insane." Yeah,
I'd say you're insane, but still, see, you have patience for that. I could never. The way that I play guitar, I don't have patience for anything. I go, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. It's
sometimes I'm not patient, but just with that, because it was like an experiment, right?
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to see.
You wanted to try.
Yeah, I just wanted to see how it would come out, and it was successful.
What my favorite thing to do is on the tracks. You're gonna laugh. It has nothing to do with guitar playing or the shredding out a solo or whatever. My favorite thing is laying the bass down. I love playing bass on my tracks. It's like when I have all the rhythms done, before I do the lead, I put the bass on. And while I'm playing that bass, it just brings the whole song in. You get that, the low end, boom, boom, boom. It just makes the whole track.
I agree with you 100%.
It really does. I say it all the time. I go, I tell my wife, like, oh my God, I love playing bass. I love playing bass on these songs because it just makes the song. It makes a song. All of a sudden, you have this low end underneath, and you're playing right with the kick drum, and everything starts locking in. That's why. I've always been one of these guys that are like simple drummers and simple bass players. Yep. I'm all about AC/DC. I think AC/DC is the greatest band ever because it's a straight 2/4 beat, and it's the bass and the drums of dun dun dun, dun, locking in, and believe me, I appreciate all these guys that could play massive craziness all over the bass and stuff, and I think it's amazing because some of them really know how to really lock in a great groove. Like Billy Sheehan's amazing. Yeah. He's absolutely incredible. Yeah. That guy could do anything besides having all the chops in the world. He lays down a groove like unbelievable. But I've actually heard some guys that are very busy bass players that if drums are going and you got a busy bass player, there's no foundation to the band. You got to have a good, solid foundation to keep everything strong. it just makes the whole song.
Yeah, I mean, Billy plays where he has to play to. You know what I mean? Like he's a phenomenal bass player, but I mean, there's certain songs that you listen to, like some Mr. Big stuff that maybe is more of a straight ahead rock song where he's just playing, right? Where he's not doing anything fancy. He's playing to the song.
Yeah, and he's very, what I love about Billy's playing, he's aggressive. He is like super aggressive on the bass. He'll, you know, I used to hear about when I used to play in a band upstate New York when he was in Talus. Talus was a band over in Buffalo and stuff. And we used to play the same club that they played at. You know, this was before David Lee Roth and everything. Yeah. And every time I'd play up there, that's all I would hear about when we played there. Oh, you know, have you seen Billy Sheehan play yet? Have you seen him? Have you seen Talus? That's all I would hear about. I go, no, I gotta see this guy play, you know?
I mean, up here,
and then all of a sudden he hit it, you know?
Exactly. Up here, Talus is very well known because they always used to come to Toronto and play. It's only 2 hours from Buffalo, right? So Talus is, I mean, Phil Narrow, the singer that they had, he was a Canadian guy. I think he passed away last year, but Talus, you mentioned Talus. A lot of the musicians here know Talus because they were playing in the clubs up here as well as down in Buffalo.
Yeah, I never got up that far. I did get to play Montreal, and boy, did I ever love playing Montreal. I loved it there.
So you've never been to Toronto?
No, I never got. We were supposed to come to Toronto and with House of Lords and the show. I think it was a weather issue or something. I think it was even supposed to be something with Autograph when I first joined, and there was a weather issue that happened. So no, I'm looking forward to coming to Toronto. I've always wanted to come to Toronto, and but I mean, just for just even getting to go to Montreal for a little bit. I know it's just across the border.
Amazing
I loved
city.
it there.
Amazing city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I know. When I was there, it was. The city was so clean. I couldn't believe it when I was playing there. I'd walk and there was a guy sweeping the streets at night. I'm going like, they don't do this where I'm from. You know, this is amazing. This place is beautiful.
City. Well, I mean, Toronto's pretty close to the same.
Good.
It's very clean. It's busy, but it's a big city, so of course it's going to be. But there's not a lot of clubs here for hard rock anymore. I mean, there's a place called the Rock Pile that books a lot of the bands.
Yeah, that's where I was supposed to play.
At the Rock Pile, yeah. Unfortunately, that's not downtown. That's kind of in the west end of the city. So you'd come here and you go, where the hell am I? What is this?
Yeah.
Right? Unless you got to go downtown, because that's what you really want to see. But well, hopefully Autograph comes up here.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. I want to. I mean, Sullivan books up there, so I'm and I know we had something there. Anytime I'm possibly near you, you're always welcome. You're my guest.
I will
always
be coming out to see you. Absolutely. Yeah. That'd be fantastic. Because I haven't seen Autograph with you playing with them, because I believe I think we talked about this before. I seen them at M3. Was that 3 years ago, 2019? So Steve was still in the band then, right?
Yeah, that was his last gig.
It was
actually
right.
Yeah. I took over right after that, and it's been with the exception of Randy passing away a few months back. It's been absolutely incredible. So much, I'm very proud and very honored to play with those guys. It's just I have a really good connection with them. They're more than just a band. They're like brothers with me. Me and Randy were so close. I mean, we were like him and I were as much of a brother as you could possibly be. We were best friends. We talked, and when I was writing, when this whole thing with Frontiers came about for that band, he was when I called him and said, "Hey, I might have something here," and he was like so thrilled, and every time I wrote a song, I'd always send it in the group thing. And Randy just loved everything that I wrote. Absolutely loved it. He couldn't wait to play it. And when we did this album, he worked so hard on all of these songs that you wouldn't believe it. I almost wonder if he knew something, was strange, because he played probably the best I've ever heard him play in his life on this record. I mean, he worked on it. He worked on every song. He loved every song. He was very proud of the record. And I think that's the most heartbreaking thing for me, is that not having him here to see the record release, because he loved it. It was, he was very, very honored to be a part of it, and very, very proud of everything that this band did. I
remember when I found out, and I was like, it was so quick. It was like all of a sudden, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. It was instant. It was weird. Randy had a heart issue prior to me joining the band. I remember there was something on Facebook and stuff. And I think, even though Randy was, still kicking ass on stage, once you have something, you're never 100%.
Yeah.
You're close, but you're never back 100% when having to go through all that. And I remember a few times at the end of gigs, Randy not feeling well, sometimes being sick and everything. And so I was always concerned about him anyway. But I'll tell you, I've never had more fun in my life on stage with somebody, because him and I, because Simon's singing. Yeah. And Randy and I did all the harmonies. All our harmonies are live. We always, we worked very hard on the vocals. Yep. So Randy would come over to me all the time, and we would be smiling, laughing, telling jokes. I mean, we would be doing everything. There's so many photos of him and I smiling ear to ear and laughing together on stage. Yeah. There's more photos of us doing that than not doing it. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, we interacted great, and that his passing just really affected me bad. It affected all the guys in the band. I mean, don't forget, Simon and Mark have been in the band a decade now. Simon and Mark have been the drummer, vocalist. Simon's been the lead singer a decade. So, that's longer than the original Autograph lasted.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. So it's, so they were extremely close with Randy. So, we honor him at every show.
That's awesome.
We've had our buddy Steve Unger from Metal Church. He's been with Metal Church for 17 years, something like that. He came in to fill in and take up to help out when we needed, because we had stuff that we were committed to right away that we couldn't get out of. So he came in and did a great job. He plays good and solid. Wicked funny guy. Reminds me a lot of Randy, and he's got a good voice. He hits all the high harmonies, because Randy always took the high harmonies. And the vocals, believe it or not, was more important than the bass playing, because we're definitely a vocal band. I'm not a lead singer by any means, but I have a good harmony voice, and I blend with Simon, very, very well. So it's just great to be a part of this lineup.
I think it's amazing, and I was thinking about this today, is the fact that, the lineup as it is now is more or less Autograph is a different band than it was in the 80s. Yeah. It's a totally different band, but the great thing is those songs are timeless, and it's great that you guys are out doing those songs and people are getting to still hear them, because, those first three albums, I'm a big fan of them and love them. And I just think and you guys are playing new music, which is fantastic too.
Plus, they had, they did an album with Randy and Steve, to Get Off Your Ass on. They had an EP, right. And yeah, so they did all this stuff prior. But on this record, like, when I joined the band, I told them I made it, very clear that I didn't want to just come into the band and just be the guy to play Turn Up the Radio. I mean, they could have got anybody to do that. There's a zillion guitar players on YouTube. They could have got to just come in and copy, stuff that Steve does. That's not what I wanted to do, because of the fact that I'm older. I'm seasoned. I write. I told him, I said, I write music. I want you to know. I mean, I'll be more than happy to play whatever songs you want me to play, but I want to bring something new to the band. I want to show, I want to show you something, I want to bring some new energy or something. So they were all about it. As a matter of fact, when I did join, they said to me, look, you have free reign to do whatever you want. Just play the Turn Up the Radio solo. And I said, well, of course you can't change that anyway. No. You would never change that solo. Yeah. So, every other solo, I think I do Loud and Clear. I do that one. Every other solo, though, I kind of altered, maybe took one little part of it, but, I like to play my own stuff. That's just the way I am. Yeah. But, when I started right off the bat, when I joined, I sent Randy, because I was communicating with him the most. I sent him some original ideas. I said, hey, I just want you to hear a couple of riffs that I wrote. And he was like floored right off the bat. He was just like, "Oh my God, this is great. I didn't realize that you wrote like this." And so when it came time to doing the record, once the word came out that we signed the Frontiers and the deal was happening, we got to work like boom. We worked so fast. Simon had some songs, had a couple tracks already that were completed. Music and lyrics, so those are on there, and then I wrote music for all these other songs, and Randy added some stuff in there. He likes to add stops and stuff. I know he was really into little accent things, and Mark, the drummer, is a producer, so that's what he does for a living. So yeah, he produces other projects and stuff. So that worked out very well, that he was able to produce the record and then also do amazing drums on top of it. So we actually turned the record in, I think a week ahead of time, than our, which is unheard of. Usually they're calling, you're supposed to have it in now, no, we were a week ahead, and we gave 2 more extra tracks than we were supposed to give.
Wow. And with that said, the name of the album, November 18th, Beyond.
Is Beyond.
Beyond. Yeah.
Randy loved it. We were trying, coming up with names, coming up for names for records is very difficult, because we were looking at the titles of the songs. Sometimes bands, will use a title of a track that's on the record as the album name. And none of the tracks titles seemed to do, say what we were trying to say. We were trying to say something different, so Beyond pretty much says it all. It's like, it says that, that we honor, the original type of sound and everything, but we're also looking to, we moved on and also have new, different type of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to keep everything fresh and new all the time.
That's cool. I mean, the first single is "This Ain't the Place I Want to Be."
Yeah.
It's a killer
I dig
song.
it.
It's so good.
Yeah. Well, and that's a perfect example. When I came up with that track, the music for it, I purposely kept in mind, I wanted to try and to bring in some of the old Autograph sound. In other words, so I wanted to hit on that vibe a little bit on that particular tune. So in other words, I figured, all right, well, I'm going to start with this crazy two-handed tapping thing right at the intro, the multiple finger tapping thing, just to to give it that little bit of a vibe, and it would give it a little bit of a recognizable and it's worked. It really has, because every interview I've done so far, people have mentioned that. They said, "Oh, it has kind of like that old vibe." I said, "Yeah, thank you. It was exactly what I was going for."
I can't wait to hear that. I can't wait to hear it. That's awesome. I love Steve's playing. Steve is a great player, and I love the stuff that he did on those albums. I mean, honestly, I think the third one's my favorite. I don't know why that is. I think I might have mentioned that to you before, Loud and Clear. I don't know why that one's my favorite, but I really like that album.
It's strange, we picking the songs to play live. Yeah, people are funny. A lot of times, even though the crowds, a lot of the audience we play for are familiar with some of the songs, it's like, it's always just, they're just waiting for, to turn up the radio a lot of times. It's kind of funny.
Do you guys do Blondes and Black Cars?
Yeah, I love playing that song.
I love that song. Yeah.
Yeah. That one I really dig playing. And that's one of the only ones that people kind of really remember a lot of times. Okay. But we go up and we tear it up. We just go up. We play them the way we play them, which is a more guitar orientated, heavier, and we have a blast. It's just a fun band. It's a fun bunch of guys, and we're very energetic on the stage. I mean, we're not. Oh, well, Simon still moves quite a bit. Simon can still drop to his knees and get back up. Me, I can't do that.
He rocks, man. He's so awesome.
Yeah, Simon is just amazing. He's an amazing front man. I would have liked. I got to look him up. I haven't looked him up when he was in Jailhouse, just being a front man. I got to look up to see what he was like as a front man.
I don't know if I've ever seen any footage. I think
there is some out there.
I think
there's some videos of Jailhouse. But it's funny just to see him, the things he's very animated with guitar. There's so many photos of him that are taken are, there's some great poses that are captured, my hair, I'm always playing. So my hair's in my face. It's very hard to get a clear shot of me sometimes. Right. Simon's got, the arms up in the air and on the knees, and like he's got all these great rock shots all the time. I go, why can't I take a shot like that?
That's amazing. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but he's a great singer. I love his voice. I honestly, Simon has this very powerful, bluesy voice, and I love his range because he sings in this very a range he's extremely comfortable in. But then again, I saw him do an acoustic show, and he for the Monsters of the Rock Cruise, they had this acoustic thing, and he pulled out More Than a Feeling. He's singing in Boston, and he's hitting all the high notes, and I'm going like, I go, oh my God, I was floored. I go, wow. I didn't know you could hit this, because it's I'm used to hearing him what he does here.
You know what? I even going back to the Jailhouse days, his voice was different than everybody else's.
Yeah.
I always thought, I didn't hear Jailhouse until years later, but I remember seeing them in Metal Edge and whatnot. And then the first time I heard his voice, I'm thinking, that voice kind of appealed. Like, it's hard to believe that Jailhouse didn't do better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was one of those, it was all timing. It got lost.
Exactly. Yeah. And
it's that thing.
It is. And I think he could have
House of Lords was in that crunch.
Totally.
Yeah. Too late. They came in late. They had this thing, and then all of a sudden people started getting sick of it, and then Nirvana comes in and crushed everybody. It's like it was just time for a change. And unless you were a band like Poison, Motley Crue, one of those bands that were massive. All the other ones just kind of like got crunched a bit. And what I love about now is that all those bands like that were around that, and Bullet Boys and and things like that. They're all coming back with all these 80s cruises and these type things, these festivals, and that music has gotten huge again.
I love
it. I'm really good. I'm really good friends with Mark Slaughter. Like, we do a lot of shows with Slaughter, and I absolutely love that dude. That guy,
he is the best. He's awesome.
Mark and I could talk on the phone for hours. I mean, the guy is the salt of the earth. That guy will sit and talk with you, and he's genuine. No attitude with that guy. He doesn't come across like a rock star or anything like that. He's a down to earth, unbelievable person, and he's the kindest man you'll ever talk to. And he loves to talk gear.
Yep.
If you're a guitar player, that was another thing that blew me away about Mark Slaughter. Here I am all this time. I'm doing shows with him. There's Mark Slaughter up on stage, lead singer. Okay. He picks up a guitar. He starts wailing on the guitar.
Yeah.
I had no idea he played guitar so good. I'm going, after he got done, I go, Mark, I didn't know you played guitar like that. He goes, that was my main instrument. He says, I played guitar before I was,
Yeah, if you talk to him about like when he joined Vinnie Vincent, he goes, it was the weirdest thing because I had to go on stage without a guitar. And here I was all these years playing guitar and singing, and then I had to go up without a guitar. He said it was really weird.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can imagine. It probably took him a while to find his vibe,
Exactly.
That's a whole different thing, Can you imagine just having a guitar on you and standing there with just a microphone in front of you? It's like
crazy.
Where do you go?
I know exactly. And I had done an interview with him on YouTube on this. I started this vinyl thing. It was nonstop vinyl rock talk, but I didn't really pursue it. I did a couple episodes, but Mark came on and we spent an hour talking about the Fear No Evil vinyl that was coming out, and he had all this really cool stuff from Stick It To You. He goes, here, he'd pull it out and he'd go, here, check this out. It's like, this was a promo thing that Chrysalis Records put together. But after the interview, I spent an hour with him just talking guitars, and he was like, he'd like pull out these, he's like, hold on, I'll be right back. And he'd pull out a guitar and he'd be like, check this out. And he had like a Vinnie Vincent prototype that he had gotten. I can't remember where he got it from. It was like Vinny's guitar, and it was, like you said, he's just an awesome guy.
Yeah. One time he did a show at, one of the casinos here. And I was there to see it. It was in the arena part. It was one of the, I think it was Quiet Riot, Stephen Piercy and Mark. And I was in the front row, of course, right in the front row of that. I never sit in the front row of anything, but that's where they happen to put me. And all you have is you have the bass bins, because it's you're in the theater, so you're getting hammered by the bass. But as soon as I got home, my phone rings and Mark called me, and he goes, Jimmy, he goes, so what did you think? How did it sound out there? It's like it was just really cool.
Really?
It wasn't. I wasn't expecting that. For him to call and is asking me what I thought of how it sounded, and I said, Mark, you sounded amazing like you always do. But I said it was extremely loud because I don't think it was anybody's fault. It was just all I was hearing was bass bins because I was in front of the bass bins. It's like. That's what I was getting rumbled to death, but that's just me. I'm an old man, so a young kid could take that, but not at my age.
I went to a club the other night to see a band, and the band wasn't too bad. They were loud and the bass bins were pumping, but it was like the music in between, and I had to go outside. It was killing me. So I totally get it.
Yeah, get it. I'm going to be 65 coming up on my next birthday, and it's kind of like, I can only take so much sometimes,
Well, especially the bass, because it was a rock band that was playing. They were doing a lot of Canadian. It was kind of like a Canadian cover band type of thing. They did are you familiar with Kim Mitchell?
Yes.
Yeah, so they did some Kim Mitchell and Sass Jordan, Atlanta Miles, a lot of Canadian. They did some Rush.
Sass Jordan.
Yes. Yeah, so they did it. They're called Canada Rocks. So I went to see them. And have you ever heard of the band Moxie?
Yes, I have heard of Moxie.
So the guitar player Earl Johnson plays in this Canada Rock thing. So he's a killer player. Like he really. And I said to him after, I said, "Are you a Blackmore fan? Because I noticed that a lot of the stuff you were playing was very reminiscent of Blackmore's kind of style, right?" So, anyways, but they were friggin' loud, and the bass was killing me. So,
yeah,
that it is what it is. It's like now I'm starting to feel older. I never used.
Yeah, I used to love April Wine back in the day.
I saw them a couple years ago, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think only a couple members. They were great. Really good.
Yeah.
Really good band. But I don't know a whole
any
lot
news about any news about any of the guys would Rush, Alex or Geddy doing anything with anybody else? Just
well, Alex just did an album with Andy Curran, who played in Coney Hatch. I don't know if you're familiar with Coney Hatch.
Yeah, I know Coney Hatch.
Yeah, so Andy Curran did an album with Alex Lifeson. It came out about 3-4 months ago, and they have a female singer. It's very different.
Oh yeah.
I'll find out what it's called, and I'll let you know. So maybe you can look it up.
I'm just wondering if they would ever. I mean, you can't replace Neil Peart, but no. I mean, just to they could honor. They could do like an honorary thing.
Yeah. I heard that Dave Grohl came up and met with them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think he's a huge Rush fan.
Oh, sure.
And, it'll be kind of cool if they did something, right?
It would have to be it would be an honorary to Neil, something like that, where it's, like, even if it's a one show thing, kind of the way they did the Freddie Mercury tribute concert at Wembley,
exactly.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah.
they had all
that was
those
amazing.
People.
Extreme.
Oh my God!
I remember Extreme and how awesome they were.
Yeah, that was incredible. Imagine being that. That was early for Extreme too. Can you imagine coming out, walking onto that, and going, "Holy shit!" I just saw Nuno the other day at the airport when we were playing the Monsters of the Mountain. I wanted to ask him about that. We used to play shows together because Nuno, they're from Boston and.
Right.
And Boston and Connecticut and Hartford, Hartford area right next to each other, a couple hour drive. So we would go there and open for Extreme. We had a guy that was managing the same guy that was doing work for both bands.
Oh, okay.
So they would come and then he opened for us. It was a lot of fun. I always thought Nuno was a superb guitar player. Yeah, just
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, he's just very, very cool. I just mentioned him in an interview the other day. Someone asked me about something, and I mentioned Nuno as someone. I think you'd get a charge out of that.
I was really surprised because I bought that Kicks movie that came out a few years ago, and Nuno's in it, and he's like saying how much he loves Kicks, and I would have never imagined that Nuno was this huge Kicks fan, because of that vein of music isn't. What Nuno does, but I was very surprised. It was really cool.
Well, I mean, we do a lot of shows in Kicks, and I absolutely love them.
I do too.
I think they're great. We're all handled by the same agent, know. But that goes to my same liking of being a big AC/DC fan, because everybody looks at me as just. They think because I shred, do that shredding style of guitar playing or whatever they call that.
Listen to, right?
Yeah, they think that I listen to that, but does anybody know that I can't stand instrumentals? Like I won't do an instrumental record, and I don't even listen to it. Like even someone is incredible as someone like Steve Vai or something like that. I can't put on a record like that because I don't. It's just not my thing. I like to hear songs with singing, and every song that I write, we're talking about writing.
Yeah.
Every song that I write has no more than a 30-second guitar solo, 40 at the max.
Yep.
But it's usually only 30 seconds of a guitar solo. You're in, you're out, you're back to the bridge or the chorus. It's like that's That's what it's about for me. I don't care about these long self-indulgent solos, where, here, look, you're trying to cram every single chop that you have into the song and then try to blow. Because honestly, the audience that appeals to is musicians, other guitar players and stuff. And that's, I want to appeal to musicians and other guitar players, and I do that, but I don't have to do it in an instrumental. I could just do it in a nice short solo, and just.
The only instrumental album I can listen to is Joe Satriani, "Surfing with the Alien," but
I got to be honest, I'm with you.
Because
I'm with you on that.
He wrote melodies. You know what I mean?
I like Joe's stuff. I don't know. Joe's instrumentals to me. Now it's so funny you said that. I can't believe it. Because Joe's instrumentals to me are more, almost more rock songs. Like, right. They're not super mental, or that's not. They're more to the point, like just a regular rock song, and he's just kind of like ripping a melody over it, and that's what I really like about him. Yeah. I really dig that about his stuff. I mean, look at just players like Yngwie and stuff like that. They're just absolutely amazing. No one could ever take anything away from that. I purposely never went towards the neoclassical style, because it's not something that it's not any water I want to tread on, because you automatically get compared to Yngwie. Now, no matter who you are, no matter what guitar player and how good you play neoclassical guitar, Yngwie was the guy that brought it forward. Just like Eddie was an innovator. Eddie came up with something. He took the two-handed tapping thing. The first time I ever heard two-handed tapping was Billy Gibbons do it in Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers. He does this part. And they go, he pulls a note and then hits it with his middle finger. That was the first time I ever heard a two-handed tapping thing. Then I saw Rick Derringer do it live. And I said, oh, wow, this guy's bringing a finger onto the fingerboard here. Then the next thing I know, here comes Eddie Van Halen, whipping out this, amazing eruption thing here. And when I heard Eruption the first time, people were baffled. I knew exactly what he was doing. I said, there's no way, because I already had started messing with the two-handed technique. I started doing the tapping thing because I saw Rick Derringer do it.
Yeah.
I saw him do it live, so I was able to figure out, you got to bend enough. Yeah, so I was able to see how to do it. And then I said, when I heard that end piece where he's, doing the arpeggio roll thing, I said, he's doing that with two hands. I will bet there's no way that you would do that. You could do it with just sweeping arpeggios, but it wouldn't sound the same. So I learned it before anybody. That's because awesome. As soon as I got the record, I concentrated and I figured out the pattern and I played it live. I was in some band. I played just that section. I didn't have the whole solo down yet.
Yeah.
So I was doing a guitar solo. All of a sudden I started doing the two-handed thing. And the people went so insane. They were lighting. I got cigarette lighters going. People going. It was hysterical.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So my point is, Eddie was an innovator.
Yeah.
And then I always look at Yngwie as an innovator because
absolutely
Yngwie took something that Richie did. Richie was I don't care what Yngwie said. Yngwie was, influenced by Richie. I've heard a couple of interviews where he said he wasn't, but he was. But he took a style like that, and really capitalized on it. It was just absolutely amazing what he did. So you look at it, you look at it like that, and you say, wow, this guy, no one could, no one's going to top, especially Yngwie when he first came out in the early 80s like that. I mean, the guy was untouchable, what he was playing. So it's just that when you try to tread, when you try to go into somebody else's frame of, style of playing, even if you do it absolutely amazing, you're always going to get looked at as
doing somebody else's.
Doing something else. Is same thing. Even the Stevie Ray Vaughan guys got it. Like when the shred thing went out for a while, and the Texas style blues guitar thing came on, Stevie Ray Vaughan. All these guys started jumping on the Stevie Ray Vaughan Texas shuffle type of playing. The down and down. Going back and forth and getting the Fender super reverbs and trying to cop that sound with the Strat and everything. They all did it great, but it was still, guys sounded like Stevie Ray, or something. So it's you pretty much what I purposely have always done with my playing is I always stayed away from copying anybody. I will be influenced by somebody. Like I'll take a little something that I hear. Like if I hear a lick that Yngwie did, and I like that lick, I won't sit and copy the lick. I'll try to create something of my own that's similar to it, but then I can at least say, "Oh, that's not Yngwie's. I made this up on my, made up my own. A whole same type of pattern, but maybe a little different. Pick it a little different."
I think that's more. In terms of guitar playing, I get a better kick out of trying to come up with my own licks rather than trying to learn someone else's licks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. I don't waste my time. It's like
this is the way I play. This is my style. This is me. This is not somebody else, right?
Yeah. I mean, I tell, back when we were kids and we were trying to learn things, back when I was a kid, I don't know how old you are, but there was no such thing as a computer or anything like that. When I wanted to try and learn, when I wanted to try and learn something, I kept putting the needle on the record back, and then I actually had a speed 16 where I'd put it on 16 to try and get it, and try to figure out the pattern, even though it wasn't in the same key. Yeah. But when I was doing that, it sounded like the record was warped, like like that. I'm trying to learn a riff that Blackmore's doing with it on slow down like that. Like even something like, are you familiar with I'm Going Home by 10 Years After off the from the Woodstock album?
Yep.
So to me, listening to Alvin Lee play I'm Going Home off that Woodstock record was one of the greatest things I ever heard in my life. And you have Jimi Hendrix doing the Star Spangled Banner and all these other great things, but Alvin Lee, to me, that was from that Woodstock performance was incredible. I loved Santana. Carlos was incredible. Alvin Lee and Sly and the Family Stone kicked ass. They kicked ever-loving ass at Woodstock, man. And so there's just something to be said about you always have your roots, and you try to learn, get influenced by that. But the one thing you don't want to do. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I get asked this a lot. They say, "What can you give advice? Can you give young guitar players?" I always say, "Don't copy anybody. Yeah. Don't waste your time. Don't sit and try to learn Eric Johnson's Cliffs of Dover note for note. You listen to it and try to grab a couple riffs from it. But you got to create your own style if you want to be somebody. You could play all these guys in the world. You could play John Sykes. You could play Richie, you could play, Yngwie, whatever you want to do, you can play note for note. It's all there on the internet. There's 1,000 guys, a million guys on the internet that will teach you how to play all this stuff note for note. And they're all over the place. But the thing that you want to do is just, you want to try to create your own thing, become your own player.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny, you were mentioning Yngwie. And we're going back to the Beyond Purple thing. Would Joe Lynn Turner, that album he did with Yngwie, would that constitute
Odyssey?
What's that?
Was it Odyssey?
Yes, Odyssey. Yeah. Would that constitute playing in Beyond Purple? Like if you did Heaven Tonight, would that be too far out?
That would be something, taking that one song, because that is so that is so AOR, that's that type of song, it's I love that song.
I do too. I think it's one of my favorite Yngwie songs. I always thought it was such a great song.
Because he took the time to make almost like a hit song. It seems like, you listen to all the other stuff that's very musical and very cool that he does, but it's almost like when he wrote that song, I need a hit song. I need to have some radio airplay here.
And it got video play, and I remember when it came out and thinking, oh man, I still listen to that album.
That was after his accident. That was right after the car accident.
Right. Yeah. There's a few songs on Trilogy that, Mark Bowles was singing on that album that were commercial enough, like You Don't Remember, I'll Never Forget. And,
it's a great one.
Yeah, and Liar. There's some good songs on that, but Heaven Tonight was a killer song. Yeah.
I love a lot of stuff Jeff Scott Soto did too. He's a great singer.
Amazing. Love his voice.
He's got some great stories. I just did an interview with Ron Keel the other day, and
Ron's awesome.
Yeah, I love Ron. He's great. And I said to him, I wonder if is one of the questions that everybody, I said, what is one question, I said this to him, what is one question that a lot of people might ask Ron Keel? And I said, what was it like to play with Yngwie? And he kind of chuckled, because it's like everybody has their Yngwie stories, it's pretty funny. I'll tell you my Yngwie story. My Yngwie story was just so ridiculous. This is like, right as he went out on his own, he quit Alcatraz. He had already made his mark, and he came out and did his first solo record or something. He's playing at a place, the Agora Ballroom. It was a big venue here in Connecticut. And I was there, and I was up on a balcony. They had a balcony walk, and Yngwie comes up, and someone from the club brings him over, and he says, hey Yngwie, I want you to meet, this is Jimi Bell. He's a really good guitar player from this area. Yngwie looks at me and says, terrific. That was it. Terrific. I kind of it was like, I was laughing so hard after that. I said, okay, I got, everything that I'm hearing about this guy is maybe true. But,
well, I'm going to tell you. So my buddy I mentioned earlier, he was in a band called Slick Toxic, and they did fairly well up here in Canada, but they toured with Yngwie down in the States on their first album. And so Kevin asked me when I was writing for Sleaze Rocks if I would help him write his autobiography, because he wants to put it out. We haven't finished it yet, believe it or not.
Right.
But we have a whole chapter about Yngwie. And the caption in the book is, the title is Who the Hell is Lars Landerbach, because that's Yngwie's real name. And then we go into these Yngwie stories, and he had a ton of Yngwie stories of being on the road with Yngwie, and it's pretty funny stuff, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine. I hear all kinds of horror stories and stuff. You got to believe half of the thing, unless it's like your friend actually being on the road.
Yeah,
half the things are blown out of proportion, like everything else is on social media. You have to really you don't know what to believe. Someone says something, and then it changes. The more people that start saying things, it keeps escalating and things start changing all over the place. So
fun.
You just don't.
It's fun. Yeah. It's funny because him and Yngwie actually got along, and they would hang out periodically. So Kevin and I can't give away too much, but Kevin would be at the side of the stage while Yngwie was playing, and they'd be throwing picks at each other. And the rest of the guys in the band would freak out because they're like, "What are you doing, man? Like, we're going to get kicked off the tour."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it was funny. There's a lot of really good stuff in it, but I don't want to give it away because we're eventually going to hopefully finish this book. So
yeah.
And I'll send you a copy.
Yeah. I'd love to do that. I'd love to see it for sure.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it tells a story of their band too, and they did fairly well up here in Canada, so which was cool.
Yeah, I'll tell you, mate. You know, I'm sure. Did we talk about the Ozzy thing back in the first?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did. Zach was always cool to me when even after that whole thing. After the whole ordeal went down between where it was, between him and I. Every time Ozzy came around, whatever, I'd get to see Zach and we would talk and hang out. After a while, he went to, when he was in Black Label, the early part of Black Label, he was at a signing at a music store and he had beers. It was, he had beers on the table. He was drinking. The line was pretty long. I waited to the very end. And I had just done a record with David Wayne from Metal Church. I had just did his solo record. I wrote the whole thing for him. And so I go up, "Hey, Zach, how you doing?" And I said, "I'm Jimi Bell." He knows who I am, but it didn't register. He didn't hear me too well.
Yeah.
And he says, "What are you doing, man?" And I said, I just, got done doing this Metal Church thing. And he sat back in his chair and then he put his hands up, put his fingers up in the air like he was thinking. And he goes, "Jimmy?" And I said, "Yeah, I just told you my name." He goes, "Dude!" He stood up and he goes, "Get over here." And this is when he was really, really jacked, really working out with weight. He punched me in the chest so hard I couldn't breathe. "Come on!" Boom! He whacked me in the chest. "Come on, hit me! I was like, "Oh my God!" Yeah, funny. But the road stories, the stories so cool. It's always good.
Well, at least there was no. You were up against him for the job, right?
Yeah, it was down between him and I out of all the players.
Well, at least you guys are good. And
Oh yeah. No, we never. Zach, I have there's articles in one of them was in was a Metal Edge magazine and something else in Circus where he's talking about me, and then he even mentions my picking hand. He mentions me and Michael Badio,
right?
In this article, comparing, talking about our picking hands, our picking technique compared to what he does. So, he's always had a good amount of respect for me, and of course, the feelings mutual, 100%. Great guy, funny.
I still listen to No Rest for the Wicked a lot, and there's some really good songs on it, and I really enjoyed his playing on that album.
Yeah.
It was intense. There was some intense stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was, Miracle Man, but I love Bloodbath in Paradise. I just thought it was I remember when that came out and thinking, that's kind of like going back to the Black Sabbath, that kind of a little bit heavier, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing when I was working with Geezer for a while, and he came to me and asked me if I, because Geezer was trying to do something this heavy commercial type thing. It wasn't like Black Sabbathy, and then he asked me if I had a song that was similar, kind of like a Black Sabbath thing, and I just wrote Master of Insanity.
Right.
I had just, I just wrote the song, and I had that title. I had the title in my head, like I said. So I played him the song. He loved it. I gave him the title. He loved the title. He wrote lyrics for that. And then after that, getting the phone calls saying the song's going to be on the record.
But you're not getting
the
credit.
Humanizer record.
But you didn't get credit, right?
No, they dropped the ball. Sharon, Gloria, Geezer's wife, said, it always starts off with great news and then bad news. She goes, Jimmy, I have great news for you. And I said, yeah. She goes, as you know, Ronnie Dio's back with Black Sabbath. And we're going to use your song, Master of Insanity, on the new record. And I'm going, yeah, this is great. She goes, but we have one problem. We can't give you songwriting credit because Tony Iommi will never let a song from another guitar player on a Black Sabbath record. So we have to say Geezer wrote it. But Geezer will put you in a special thanks. And when the tour is over, we'll pay you for the song.
Oh.
What was I going to say?
Yeah.
No, that's not good enough. I want, I wasn't going to argue. So I just let it go. But
did you get paid?
No, never.
That's unfortunate.
Well, my payment is this. I have a song that I wrote that Ronnie Dio sang on, and they play it note for note the way I wrote it. So
that's pretty.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, that's
the only thing they did was add one little extra thing to the guitar solo section. But other than that, the song is. Other than that, the song is note for note from my demo that I have with Geezer. The demo with Carl Sentence from Nazareth singing. Matter of fact, it's on YouTube. You can hear my demo, and it's a little faster than what they recorded, but it's on there. And what was funny is, I always had to live my life, telling people that I wrote that song, and I'm an honest guy, so most of the time people believe me, but if you're telling a total stranger, oh, I wrote this song that Black Sabbath used, Master of Insanity. Someone will go, you're full of shit. That's not true, Yeah. But finally, Ronnie Dio put it in a book. There was an autobiography written about him, or a book he was interviewed for.
Oh, okay.
And in the book, I actually have the page where it says that they were talking about lyrics, and then Ronnie says I had a major part in writing a lot of the lyrics. He says, in fact, the only lyrics I didn't write were the lyrics for this song, Master of Insanity, which was written by Geezer Butler and guitarist Jimi Bell, and is one of my favorite songs. And I went, wow. I said, oh my God, Ronnie said it in print. I said, finally, it's out there in print that I wrote the song.
That's awesome. I'm just reading Ronnie's, it's called Rainbow in the Dark, but it only goes up to... I think Sacred Heart. The book. Yeah, no, this is there's a lot of books out, but I have the cover of it. I even have the page. So cool. It's in two different books, the same thing. So it was really cool that he said that. It was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, because there's your credit, right? I mean, he acknowledged
it. Honestly, it's better than money.
Yeah,
to me. Who? How many people could say they have a song that they wrote that Ronnie James Dio singing on?
Not many.
And not to mention that I get asked this all the time, in interviews. If you could perform or co-write or something with any artist, living or deceased, who would it be? And I always say Ronnie James Dio. I always say that. If I had the chance to play in Dio, I think I could have brought something really good into that band. I could have brought something with me to that, because I was writing a lot of stuff in that vein for a while as well.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I would have loved to have played with it. I saw him with Doug Aldridge, and Doug is phenomenal too. There's another monster.
He's one of my favorites too.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of Doug Aldridge.
Yeah, great guy. Talked with him for a while on the cruise. It's great when you get to do those things. You get to chat with all these people.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many great guitar players, right? Like from the era, there's so many of them.
Yeah, when it's funny because for a while, back in the 80s, there was a lot of great guitar players. Like guitar players started in my area here. I started doing the shred thing. I didn't even realize what I was doing because I had developed my style from Johnny Winter, Richie Blackmore, and Al Di Meola. So, and that was all before 80s. So I had started, I was doing fast picking and all this other stuff, and I didn't know the term shred. I didn't even know what that was, until someone said, dude, you're shredding on the guitar. And I go, what the hell is that? And then they were explaining what that was. And, but so I didn't really, know that's what I was doing. But when I came back to Connecticut area from Canada, because I was living in Montreal for a while,
Right.
I had developed this style, and then I was, all these people started coming out to see what the hell I was doing, and one of the guitar players that was really influenced by me, and he says it in all his interviews, was Chris Impellitteri. So
That's
Chris
cool.
So Chris gets asked all the time, like, who his influences, was Yngwie one of his big influences? He always says, no, I grew up in Connecticut. There was this guy, Jimi Bell, that I learned how to do all this stuff from. He always gives me, shout outs, which is so cool.
Amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Great guy. But so, yeah, I mean, there was this guitar thing going throughout the 80s. And then when the 90s came, it wasn't cool to play guitar solos anymore, but I kept playing them. That's when I got out of the rock thing for a while. And I told you I got into country music, playing Italian and everything. So that's where my mind was all the way up to 1999. And then 1999, I got contacted by the lead singer of this German band called Thunderhead that was around. And they were doing another record, and they wanted me and BJ to play. So that's what got me back into playing. I had let my hair go gray and everything. So I ended up dyeing my hair again and going out on tour. And the first tour was with Metal Church. We did a record on SPV, Thunderhead, and then we went out with Metal Church with David Wayne, rejoined the band. And that's when David told me that he was only doing that one tour, and he was doing a solo album. That I asked me if I wanted to play guitar for it, write the album, and then the rest is history. Just all that stuff.
I actually have Ronnie Monroe coming on the show in a couple of weeks. So
yeah, he's a good buddy. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
matter of fact, he called me just the other day.
Really, eh?
Yeah. He lives in Rhode Island. He's not too far from me.
Okay.
We chat a lot. I sent him some material. He likes, we talk all the time about possibly doing something. So so for Ronnie, when I write, if I send him some material, it's more on the heavier side.
Yeah.
For like this girl singer that I'm doing something for. Hers is a little more straight ahead rock, but also a little bit of country vibe. Autograph is a straight ahead rock and roll vibe. And House of Lords is the melodic rock side. So I write to what the vocalist is. That's how I judge. Like when I write a song, I say, okay, who's going to be singing the song, and what type of vibe would fit that person.
That's amazing. That's a wide spectrum of styles. I think it's amazing. Yeah,
it's fun to, I like to dabble in all kinds of stuff, Yeah. The only style of guitar playing that I never really, that I never dabbled in at all was classical, because it's a very, a very precise way of playing, and, with the finger. And not to mention, I've actually looked, but it's very difficult to find a left-handed classical guitar because, I'm left-handed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I bet it is.
Yeah, I mean, have one with like a cutaway and a pickup and stuff. I don't know why they're so difficult. I mean, they make a lot of acoustic electrics lefty with the pickup and the cutaway, but to find a classical guitar, it's very difficult. I don't know why.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy, I thank you so much, man. That was as usual, great conversation.
Yeah, I love being on your show,
man.
I'm sorry if I talk too much. I just go off.
You don't.
My mind goes in different directions. Hey, listen, I'll tell you this. I've had on a bunch of interviews I've done. Seriously, I've had the person interviewing me say, "Thank God that I don't have to pull stuff from you," because he says, "I can't tell you how many times we've had guests on the show, and I asked them a question, and it's like you're waiting for an answer, and it's just like it's very difficult to get an answer out of somebody. It's like they almost don't want to be there. They're doing it just for the hell of it, because
Or, I mean, sometimes you'll get thrown interviews with artists that aren't used to, like, let's say a smaller label has a band and the artist may not be used to speaking like as much in an interview. So sometimes it is hard to pull stuff out. Or you're speaking to them and the interview goes by so quickly because they don't have a lot to say.
Right.
So these type of interviews are great.
Yeah, well, or the opposite when you're interviewing somebody really famous and they just are, just don't even feel like it's like you're bothering them almost, it's like, yeah.
You know what? I have to be honest though. I haven't had a lot of I've had Dave Ellefson on and he was fantastic. I've had him like 3 times and he's always great, but I haven't had anybody like a Nikki Sixx or somebody like that. And I'd probably be worried because of what you say, because maybe they're not going to be interested, right?
Yeah. And you got to really watch what you do because those guys are so big. They don't tolerate a lot of things. If they don't like your question or, it's just like, I'm not going to answer that, and it kind of makes you feel weird at the same time. So they're,
and then it kind of messes the vibe, right?
Yeah. It kills the whole. Then you're nervous. You don't know what to ask the person. Oh God, now you're on pins and needles because you might have offended them or something.
Exactly. That's never happened, luckily.
Yeah. You don't have that type of voice, so you're good.
No, that's true.
You're very unoffensive.
I hope so. I try to be. Anyways, man,
you should interview Simon. Simon would love to talk with you.
Yes, Simon is. I've had him on before. I have had him, and we're just working on logistics of him having him on again because Jody's. She asked me about it, so that's why. I didn't ask too many questions about the new autograph because I knew he's going to come on too. So I want it to be a little bit different, right?
Yeah. Well, I went all over the place. I hit on the autograph a bit. I hit this.
They were great.
When we talk a lot about guitar stuff because we're guitar players anyway.
That's right. Yeah, which is fun.
So, yeah, that's more fun. You can talk the serious stuff with him.
That's right. Okay, man. Well, thanks so much, and
my pleasure.
I am sure I would love to have you on again.
Yeah,
always.
Let's do it again. I love being on your show. It's always a pleasure, Tyson.
Okay.
Really.
Okay, Jimmy. Well, have a great night. And
yeah, you too, my friend.
Okay.
I'll be thinking about this interview when I'm out walking at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Wow. I'll still be in bed, but only for an hour because I get up at 5. I get up at 5, so we're all good.
All right, buddy.
Okay,
you have a great night.
You too, Jimmy.
All right,
take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.